FBI directors in recent times have been establishment figures, bending over backwards to protect the elite and suppress the truth. Think of James Comey, who tied himself in knots to shield Hillary Clinton from prosecution, or Robert Mueller and the Russian collusion hoax. But what if I told you it hasn't always been this way? What if there was an FBI chief who exposed Satanism in the CIA, the Illuminati, elite paedophile rings, chemtrails, and so much more? A man who spent his life uncovering the darkest secrets of the global elite and sharing that truth with the people, until he was tragically and mysteriously silenced. Hundreds of thousands of children in the United States are going missing every year, and the majority of the population simply chooses to look the other way and pretend nothing is wrong. Not only has the DC political class enabled the situation, they are working with cartels who traffic child sex prostitutes, many of whom are barely old enough to understand what's happening to them.
I come from a missionary family to Mexico. We work with cartel members. We see them convert to Christianity, saying how they traffic thousands of children, specifically to Democratic politicians, and they actually said the biggest client for their product is the U.S. government, and that actually exploded under the Biden administration.
Wait, so the cartels were telling your family they
were directly in prison.
They were trafficking kids to Democrats?
Yes.
So it's legit. Cartels are trafficking kids as sex slaves for Democrats?
Yes.
Is this modern day slavery?
Yes, they are.
So just to give some detail for the audience.
Yes, sir.
You have an 11-year-old girl.
Yes.
What do they do with that girl?
They actually have to hide her. We were in Coahuila, which is where the Zetas were at. They just got eliminated, but they were the biggest traffickers. They actually kind of begin to dismantle under the Trump presidency, even for the Mexican government. But the biggest, we've known people that had to leave states, hide them, literally take them, like just completely.
And these girls become prostitutes
100%.
At 12 years old.
Yeah. Parents have sold their kids into it just to survive.
So when you hear that 320,000 kids have gone missing under Kamala Harris.
100% accurate. We see thousands and thousands of migrants on top of trains coming across, just destroying everything across the path.
Do they mean America well or harm?
Absolutely harm.
So the cartel works with the American government
100%. So
to bring these kids as sex slaves.
Yes.
This is not a joke, everybody.
This is not.
We've been saying this for a long time.
You guys can go. We have Facebook pages and everything.
It's the largest sex slave trade in the world history.
100%.
And Kamala Harris is overseeing it and co-signing it.
Meet Ted Gunderson, FBI special agent and former head of the Los Angeles FBI. Gunderson joined the FBI in December 1951 under J. Edgar Hoover, quickly earning a reputation as a sharp and respected agent. He served in several key offices, including Mobile, Knoxville, New York City, and Albuquerque. In 1979, he was even shortlisted for the role of FBI Director, a position that ultimately went to William H. Webster.
I was an FBI agent from December 10, 1951, until I retired March the 30th, 1979. At the time of my retirement, I was in charge of most of Southern California. I had over 700 personnel under my command, budget of $22.5 million. I had 16 offices that I was responsible for. I had a fantastic career. In the old days, the FBI was a great organization. Unfortunately, as I said a few moments ago, it's been infiltrated by the satanic cult, Illuminati movement, as well as other agencies like the NSA and the CIA and so forth. And I'll go more into detail on that in a minute.
After retiring from his distinguished FBI career, Gunderson's life took a dramatic turn. He began giving presentations across the country, speaking directly to the public. That's when things became really interesting, and the elite became desperate to silence him.
Are kidnapped and murdered in this country every year. Americans, for the most part, are oblivious to what's really going on behind the scenes. I retired from the FBI March 1979. At that time, I was in charge of the FBI Los Angeles Division. I had more than 700 personnel under my command. And in that particular instance, they were taking children out of foster homes, orphanages, Boys Town. These are 2-, 3-, and 4-year-old children before they enter kindergarten. In addition, the children claimed that they were flown into the mountains where they were involved with adults in robes, black robes, chanting candles. They talked about the brown babies who were cut up, actually sacrificed, and flying them to Washington, D.C. for sex orgies with prominent people, including congressmen, senators, and certain people in the White House. And the reason the congressmen and the senators vote for these stupid bills is because many of them have been set up and framed through sex and drugs.
Gunderson shared the information the elite were desperate to keep under wraps. He exposed the government's false flag terrorism, satanic ritual abuse, MK Ultra mind control, and even chemtrails. His talks opened thousands of minds to the dark realities hidden behind the corridors of power.
The Satanists want to get their hands on these kids young, when they're real young, right? And by getting them when they're young, they can get them MK Ultra mind control program, instill it into the kids. For example, one of the little girls in McMartin case, mother and father both worked. They went into her house, got her kitten, brought her kitten out. This is according to I talked to a little girl myself, and sacrificed that kitten in front of this other children and said, if you talk, we're going to do this to your brother or to your mother and father. It was satanic all the way, absolutely no question about it. But they want to get their hands and indoctrinate these kids in preschool, 2, 3, 4, 5 years of age. And that's part of the MK Ultra mind control program. I happen to know of dependents, military dependent children, who are victims of this. And they may not even realize it. But this is going on. This is going on in America. Wake up, America.
But it didn't last long. Gunderson died suddenly and unexpectedly, sparking suspicions among those closest to him. Many believe he was silenced, killed by the elite to prevent him from revealing more. Stay tuned, because we're about to dive into the highlights from his explosive final interview, where he exposed the sinister agenda of the satanic elite and revealed how we can fight back. Gunderson wasn't just known for exposing the darkest corners of the elite. He was a man who put his own life on the line to protect the vulnerable. He worked tirelessly to shed light on the global elite's sexual and satanic ritual abuse of children.
There's a book out that really woke me up, and it's called Pawns in the Game by William Guy Carr. William Guy Carr was a retired naval commander, Canadian, and he couldn't understand why we had all these wars and all these problems in the world. So he started researching it, and his book really lays it out. And as a matter of fact, on page 26 of that book, Pawns in the Game, it outlines the 25 goals of the Illuminati, which were announced at a conference May the 1st, 1776, by a defrocked priest named Adam Weishaupt in Germany. And these 25 goals included corrupt the youth through sex and drugs, elect your own people to office, meaning the Illuminati, control the media. If you can't elect your own people, put your people in there as agenteurs and agents and advisors. And the list just goes on and on and on. And that list, that 25 goals are right, I'd say right now about 85% complete. But that was what the book, where I read it in that book, and then that dovetailed into the satanic movement in this country, because Illuminati and Satanism are one and the same as far as I'm concerned. In fact, I've talked to Satanists who have dropped out of the movement, so to speak, or are still victims and on the run, and they've told me, said, we're Illuminati, and there's absolutely no question about it. Illuminati is a satanic organization. And then, in further research, it became apparent that the Illuminati had infiltrated virtually every level of society in our country, and particularly the governments, the various governments, federal, city, state, and on down, city councils, law enforcement, the intelligence community. They have not missed a lick. I mean, the goals were 230 some years ago, and they have advanced. They started out with 2,000 members, and leading scientists, businessmen, bankers, and so forth. And look what they've done. And look at the control they have. And you know, if you want total control, You got to take over the money, and they've taken over the money through the Federal Reserve. Federal Reserve is not a federal agency, it's a private organization run by the Illuminati. Absolutely no question about it. Well, I can say this without any hesitation. The Illuminati / Satanism is about 1.5% of the population in this country today. That's a lot of people. That's millions of people.
Gunderson wasn't wrong, and some things don't change. World leaders are still shamelessly advertising their allegiance to Satan, and they're still being selected by the global elite, not elected by the people. Gunderson warned us many years ago about the perils of electronic voting machines. Unfortunately, not enough people listened to him while he was alive, and now we have to deal with the consequences of blatantly rigged elections. The entertainment industry is still controlled by pedophiles in positions of power. Nicole Kidman said that Stanley Kubrick told her that the world is run by pedophiles. Kubrick was killed as his movie Eyes Wide Shut was released in cinemas around the world.
But I warn you, if you make any further inquiries, or if you say a single word to anyone about what you have seen, there will be the most dire consequences for you and your family. Do you understand?
Blowing the whistle on the global elite is a dangerous business, and Gunderson understood the risks he was taking. Isaac Happy, Chris Cornell, Chester Bennington, Avicii, and Anthony Bourdain are just some of the high-profile figures who vowed to expose powerful entertainment industry paedophile rings. They all suffered the same fate as Gunderson, cut down before their time. Sadly, the list keeps growing, and the circumstances surrounding each death only becomes more bizarre with every case. Anne Heche, who was working on a movie exposing Hollywood paedophilia and child trafficking, was killed in a bizarre car accident. At least, that was what we were told.
An ambulance, that's some sort of sign, but yes. So basically the activity that we were looking for, that anxious or that quick moving, that was going on the other side of the vehicle. Oh my gosh, he's completely alive.
What the hell?
Revealing the truth is a dangerous game, but the real risk lies in staying silent. Ask yourself, what kind of world do you want your children to live in? Educating the masses was Gunderson's plan for defeating global fascist tyranny and protecting the children. And he asked his audience members to copy his research and distribute it to everybody they knew. It's in this spirit that we seek to spread the word of his work to as many people as possible. As Jefferson said, all tyranny needs to gain a foothold is for people of good conscience to remain silent.